Good evening and welcome to Terrace Talk. Tonight we have got a special League Two predictions. I didn't think I'd ever be covering League Two, but I am because my football team is absolute pony and ended up in League Two. So we said we'll do a League Two prediction show. So here we are, Bez.
Yeah, and looking forward to this one. I think, as I've said previously, we obviously had the chat. There are actually a lot of experienced managers at this level, some which I found surprising. And I know that we expect Rotherham to do well at this level, but I think this is one of the hardest leagues to kind of try and guess out of all of the EFL. So, and obviously, our knowledge for this level is probably not as good as like League One or the Championship would be. That's because Rotherham's not been at this level for 13, 14 years. So should be fun.
Yeah, it just resembles a car park league to me. Just looking at some of these teams depresses me just looking at it. But here we are, mate. And what else can we say? So we're going to start off with Accrington Stanley.
Who are they?
Who are they? I know they signed Cole Stockton and they've got a decent manager, but I just think they're on the decline. And I think this season, with the quality that has come down from League One, I think they're going to really struggle. My prediction to be relegated. That's my prediction.
Interesting. It's interesting. And just for everyone who's watching this as well, we've actually tried to do this video about 50 times. And I have to say, since last week when we did it, Lee has actually changed his mind a little bit on Accrington, which is interesting.
Yeah, I did have them struggling, but then obviously I've looked into who they've signed and everything else, the squad depth, and I've watched a few sort of videos on people predicting, and a lot are sort of predicting them to be go down. If you look at the actual betting odds, they are third favourites to be relegated. So, yeah, I think when you look at it, the constant drop off, I think eventually they've been punching above the weight for too long, and I think it's time for the exit door.
Which again, I think is fair, to be honest. And you know, I've not got them, performing extremely well. I'm going to put them in that bottom half kind of segment. So if we just change to my screen now, I'll put into that bottom half. I actually like a couple of the signings they've made, as Lee's already said there. Cole Stockton, obviously experienced striker at the lower leagues, and he has been a little bit of a goal scorer. I know he's not done so well since leaving Morecambe, but I just think it's a type of striker that could probably help Accrington score enough goals just to avoid the drop. Manager's John Dolan. Again, I quite like the manager. And the other sign that I do like for Accrington is I quite like the goalkeeper to sign on loan from Norwich City, a young kid called Louis Mulden. I'm just quite impressed with him. So I think, if you've got a good goalkeeper and a good striker, you've got half a chance of staying in the league. And that's why I've got them bottom half rather than going down.
Fair enough. Well, you pick your next team, Bez. I'll let you.
Yeah, so we will do this alphabetical order, so you can't guess, if you like, where we're putting every team. So the next team is Barney. So just having a look at Barney's kind of summer, if you like, transfer recruitment. They have actually brought in quite a number of players. I think they've got about 9 or 10 players that have come in. Now, again, a bit like League, when you were looking at Accrington and looking at what other social media outlets have said, Barney do seem to be a team who is quite popular, and a team who are expected to do well this season. Now, the manager, Dean Brennan, I actually really rate. I think he's one of the best managers at this level. I think he's an up-and-coming manager. He's never been higher than Barney. I'm actually surprised that someone higher up haven't kind of took a gamble on him. It was someone who I wanted at Rotherham at the start of the season. That's how much I rate him. I do think Barnet will do relatively well. Now, I don't think they're going to get top three. and it's a case of whether or not I think they're going to get in the playoffs or mid-table. And even though I just said I think they're going to do well, I'm actually going to put them in mid-table. So I just think they're going to miss out, like finish 8th or 9th. So I'm going to stick them there.
Fair enough, Bez. Well, I'm going to go different to you totally. So obviously, I've been looking at this, and Barnet have kind of really stood out. Again, I am definitely at the thought that the manager is probably one of the better at this level, and I've liked the signings what they've made. So I'm going to put Barnet for a playoff spot. I think Barnet will be the surprise package of the division, and I think they will get in the playoffs.
Well, one thing I will say for those listening, we are, although we've done our research, we are kind of putting these teams and clubs in these groupings, not knowing what teams we've kind of got left to do. So I'll not be surprised if one of us or both of us do some last minute changes. And to be fair to me, I did say that I think Barnet are one of them where I think they will finish between 6th and like 9th. I just think they're going to just miss out. No real reason behind it. I just think they're a club who, in my lifetime, I can't remember them being higher in League Two. I'm not saying they haven't done. I just can't remember them being higher in League Two. So again, like history tells you, I just think they're going to miss out. Right, moving on. Bristol Rovers, and it's our man, Mr. Steve Evans, at the helm. Now, typical Steve Evans, they've obviously brought in quite a lot of players over the summer period, including a couple of ex-Rotherham players. So you've got Ben Parrington and Richie Forward in there. Now, Bristol Rovers ended last season extremely well. I'm pretty sure that they were close to the bottom until Evans came in. And I think if they had another 5 or 6 games, they probably got into the playoffs. That's how good a job Steve Evans did. And with that, I think that Bristol Rovers are going to be the first team that I stick in the playoffs. I think Evans will carry on that momentum, and that'll get Bristol Rovers into the playoffs this season. That's just me there sticking it in the playoffs. Lee, your thoughts on Mr. Evans?
So for me, he is the best manager in the league by some distance. What he did when he went there is just phenomenal. And I am a big believer in the bounce where they have a good end to a season and they start off like a rocket. I think Bristol Rovers are going to be a real force in this league, and I think they're going to finish 3rd. I think they're going to get promoted. I think Steve Evans will get them well drilled. Recruitment looks well for this league. They're a big club as well. Once the fan base gets behind them for the level, they're one of the bigger clubs in League Two. So for me, I'm saying that Steve Evans will get Bristol Rovers out of this division.
Okay. Next up, Cheltenham Town, Rotherham United's first league opponents on Saturday. I like the manager, first of all, Steve Cotterill, an exceptional manager who's obviously managed as high as the Championship. I would say, though, he's probably on his way down now. I think he's getting towards the latter stages of his career. I think he's into his 60s. Obviously, he had that illness a few years ago. I think it was cancer, and he managed to get through that, which is excellent for him. So I do think Cheltenham Town are a team who they won't go down. I can quite safely say. I look at some of the signings, and I'm actually impressed with some of these signings. Charlie McCann from Barrow, ex-Manchester United. Jordan Shifley from Port Vale, who was at Coventry City, and he was a bit of a long shot specialist. I think he scored a few long-range goals, and I've always kind of rated him. They've obviously signed an ex-Rotherham player, Sean McWilliams, and again, Sean McWilliams will be a good signing for this level. The issue is if he can stay fit, and that's the issue he had at Rotherham last season. He just couldn't keep himself fit, and therefore he was in and out of the team. Because of all that, I'm going to have Cheltenham Town in mid-table. I just don't think that they've got the quality, if you like, to break down those playoff spots, unfortunately. But it wouldn't surprise me if they did sneak in. And there's one thing I will say, and I said it at the start of the show, this is a league where I do think there'll be like a 3 or 4 point gap between 5th and like 13th. And that's because that generally happens at this level. So it wouldn't surprise me if teams like Barney, Cheltenham did actually scrape into those playoffs.
For me, I mean, yeah, I don't see anything other than a bottom half finish for Cheltenham. I think, yeah, the manager was good once upon a time, and the players that you've said are okay players. They're not ones that you look and think, I wish Rotherham had signed them. I just think they're okay players. Sean McWilliams, he flattered to deceive at times. Didn't have a great spell at Rotherham. He was all right in spells, but consistency was poor. I think the manager is aging as well. He's had a lot of health problems. So I think he's just on the wind down for me. And I think they'll finish bottom half the table for me, Cheltenham. I don't see him troubling mid-table or the playoffs.
No danger relegation, Lee, for him?
Potential for slipping into that, but I think they'll just have enough with the couple of signings like a Sean McWilliams. They'll have enough just to stay up, but I don't think they're going to have a comfortable season. Like you said, I think these places are going to be moving around quite often in the league. So 1 week you could look at it and think, oh, I think they'll go down, and then they'll win a couple and they'll be sort of mid-table. But I think they'll always be sort of lower echelons of the table for me.
Okay, fair enough. Chesterfield then is next. Obviously, a little bit of a local rival to Rotherham, and again, a team who, for some reason, the fans don't really like Rotherham. I'm not really sure why, because I quite like Chesterfield. I think it's a nice place as well. And yeah, I always want them to do well. Still got Paul Cook, who, again, I think is a very good manager. But it does appear that there are some, if you like, unhappy fans inside Chesterfield. And I think what it is the way that Paul Cook plays is quite a slow build-up. I mean, they played obviously on Saturday against, I think, Fleetwood, and they had 80% possession. And I think it can get frustrating when you're just passing the ball between your defence and goalie and defence and midfield, then back into defence. And I think that's probably why fans are starting to be unhappy. And over the last 2 or 3 2 seasons, they've literally just fallen short. They've just crept into the playoffs and then been comfortably beaten both times by Notts County and Walsall, I think the last one was. They have also signed a lot of players. I read earlier on Chesterfield's Twitter page or X page that they'd signed Fraser Bryden from Crusaders, and that was their 15th signing of the summer. So again, I think they're a club, a bit like Rotherham, who might start really slow, and because of that, I think they're going to do something very similar to what they've done in recent years. And it's a case of whether or not they will scrape those playoffs or they'll finish like 8th or 9th, something like that. I'm going to go, and this one might change. I am going to go mid-table for them because, as I said, I think because they'll start slow, I think they'll start slow, like I say, they'll catch up as the season goes on, but because they started slow, I think they'll not have enough about them to kind of close the gap between where they are and those playoff positions. So I'm going to put them in mid-table.
Yeah, you can't change your predictions, Bez. Once you put them there, they're there, mate.
I know, but I meant at the end of this video. To be fair, I'm not going to ring up like 3 months later to say I'll move Chesterfield to playoffs when the top of the league.
This is set in stone. It's in video.
Yeah.
The Chesterfield fans are going to hold you to account for that position. So you can't give your get out of jail card. Or it may change. No, these are the final predictions. So you've got to own it. And to be honest with you, I'm a bit shocked with your prediction of Chesterfield. So I've obviously been speaking to a Chesterfield fan, season ticket holder. He goes home and away. They're pretty upbeat for the season. He's been happy during pre-season. And for me, I think Chesterfield will finish 5th. I think they'll get in the playoffs comfortably. I think they've signed a goal scorer as well. From all accounts, he looks a decent player. They've got Kyle McFadden. Even though he's 40 odd years of age, he's a real leader, a real League Two warhorse, one that will run through big walls for Chesterfield. So for me, I think they've got a decent fan base, and they're a club on the up. They've constantly sort of been in and around it. They know the league now. They've come back from the non-league, and now they are establishing themselves as a very strong, solid League Two team. And yeah, I get what you're saying. They lost, I can't pronounce his name, Dogba. Who I thought was an excellent player. They lost him, but from speaking with the fans who go there regularly, they're confident with the players they've brought in, and pre-season they played really well. They do have high possession. I think last season they averaged about 82% possession, which is madness. And I said, is it just being played around the back? And he was saying, no, they get it out wide, and they do attack teams. But I don't know. For me, Chesterfield, I only see them in the top half of the table. I can't see them going mid-table for me.
I think that one Chesterfield fan is Conjurley.
No, that's what I'm not having it. I like Paul Cook as well. I think he's way too good to be a League Two manager.
Yeah,
I like Paul Cook. I'd have took him at Rotherham.
Yeah, to be honest, I probably would have took him as well, to be fair. Okay, moving on. Colchester United is next. Currently still got the same managers, Danny Cowley and his brother. Again, managers who have been at a lot higher level than this. They were on the verge. In fact, they were in the Championship at one point with Huddersfield. And again, it's a case of they've kind of dropped, and then they found themselves at Colchester. Now, it's a bit of a strange one with Colchester because these managers are probably great at getting a team like Colchester kind of through the leagues with the kind of direct football that they play. But the Cowleys have actually been there for a couple of years now, and they've not managed to kind of do anything with them. So I don't really see this year being any different. They've only brought in 3 players, Sean Raggett being one of them, who, again, I liked him at Rotherham, but he was very injury prone. I don't think he'll play more than 15 games next season. Paul Digby's a good signing from Dundee. The other one, Jason Leake, I don't really know him that well, to be honest with you. He's come from Oldham. They've got a few loans, to be fair, as well. A loan from Hull City, a goalkeeper who I do rate, Timothy Tuala, Oscar Thorne on Lincoln, and there's one from Peterborough and Wolves. I think it's quite easy, this one, actually. I am going to put them in mid-table. Again, I think the managers are good enough to ensure they're not in the bottom half or below. But again, I just don't see them breaking into that top 7, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I think Cowley is a good manager, but he's dropped down the leagues rapidly. He's been there a bit, and not really pulled any trees. None of the signings really sort of stand out to me. That they don't look like they've got much goals in the team. So for me, I think it's the most obvious mid-table team I've ever seen, to be honest with you. Don't think you're going to look further than mid-table.
Yeah, completely agree, Lee. Next is Crawley Town. I have to say, very interesting kind of setup, Crawley. Bit like Accrington, a team who traditionally are probably a non-league side, but they've been in the Football League now for quite a while, averaging, again, no more than, I think, 1,500. Now, the current manager of Crawley, incredibly, is Colin Kazim Richards, who we know relatively well because he played for a local team to us in Sheffield United, and that was in the Premier League, incredibly. Then he got a move to Turkey. I don't know much about him in terms of being a manager, so probably a bit like Rotherham and Alex Bruce. It is a bit of a risk if you like bringing in an unknown manager. And I have to say, he's not this type of personality when he was a footballer where I would expect him to become a manager. So I am surprised. They have actually brought in quite a lot of players, including Vito Manone, who was once at Arsenal. He says here that he was retired and he's quite a retirement to play for Crawley. I'm not sure if that's a backup or number one, but it is an interesting transfer. They've also got some very random transfers from foreign teams. They've signed a Juventus player, Gianmarco Diabiase, someone from Glasgow United, I think, so Gibraltar side. They've signed a few more foreigners. Pele Organese McDermott from Tottenham. So, yeah, very interesting. Now, I said this week, like I said, we've done this video a few times. I said on the last video that I think Crawley will go down, and I'm not changing my mind. They've got an inexperienced manager. They've signed what looks like a very random set of players, and I think they've been close to relegation the last couple of seasons anyway. So, yeah, easy for me. I think Crawley Town are going down.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you, Bez, to be honest with you. For me, Crawley Town are a team that will get relegated. Yeah, it's going to be sort of tight. Is it 2 that just go down?
Yeah, 2 go down, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see you. I know what you're doing now. You're looking at what clubs are left to see if there's anyone worse.
Yeah, there's another team that I do fancy for relegation, and I'm trying to think. I'm going to.
You can look, Lee. You can change. Like I said,
yeah,
we've got till the end of the video to change it. Yeah,
Accrington will just survive because there's another team that I think will finish below Crawley as well. So for me, Crawley, I mean, Casmin Richards, he was a shocking footballer, very strange character as well. So it doesn't surprise me that he's made some random signings. And I can see him not lasting the season out at Crawley. I think he's a very odd character. I think it's going to be an odd season for them. And I think, unfortunately, for them, I think it's the end of the road.
Okay. Next, we have Crewe Alexandra. Manager currently is Lee Bell. I think he's been there a couple of years. Again, he's not a well-known manager, but he has been around for, like I said, a few years. And I think he's always done relatively well with Crewe. I think they got into the playoffs either. It wasn't last season, but it might have been a couple of seasons ago. And they were quite close to promotion. An interesting club, Crewe, because when Rotherham, obviously on the Ronnie, were in the Championship in the early 2000s, and Crewe were always there with them. And it was actually Crewe who went down. I think it was the second season with Rotherham, where both sides got 50 points, and Crewe literally went down on goal difference. And the last game of the season was Rotherham v Crewe, and Crewe had to win something like 15-0. They won 2-0 to be fair, but yeah, they had to win 15-0 to stay up. So yeah, a bit of a strange club, Crewe, and I am surprised that they are down in League Two and they've been there quite a while. In terms of signings, they've made a couple or 3 permanent signings. I don't think they've made any loan signings yet, which I imagine they might get between now and end of the transfer window. The signings they have made, they were actually quite good. Jordan Gibson from Doncaster, I think he's a good winger at this level. Luke Offord from Milton Keynes Dons, a good midfielder. And then Joe White from Newcastle United, I think he's just a youngster. But again, I think he's had loan spells, if I'm not correct, at this level. Quite a few. I think he's on loan at Crewe, MK Dons. I think he was on loan at Bradford as well last season, which obviously were in League One, so that's a decent signing. So yeah, I don't think they're good enough to get in the playoffs. But again, I'm going to put another side in mid-table. I don't think they're going to go down. And yeah, mid-table for me.
Yeah, and I'm going to put them same mid-table. Crewe is a strange place, strange people. They've got a weird cult going on there. I've seen online as well where they're, kidnapping people and all sorts of weird stuff going on in Crewe. Very strange place. The people are not much better, I don't think. And for me, yeah, I mean, the signing from Doncaster, is it Gibson? He's a decent signing, but they don't have enough to trouble the top half. They don't have enough terribleness to bother the bottom half either. So they're as mid-table as you're going to get, Crew.
Okay. And next, we have Exeter City. So Exeter, one of the teams who came down with Rotherham United. Their manager is currently Matt Taylor. Again, obviously ex-Rotherham. And I have to say, out of the 4 sides that went down last season, Rotherham, Exeter, Port Vale and Northampton, I think these are the team who I will struggle the most. I think the manager, Matt Taylor, he came out a few weeks ago to say that the club's not got a lot of money to spend. They've brought in a few free transfers. Again, they've not brought any loans in, which I find interesting, but a few free transfers. And I have to say, a couple of decent transfers. Gian Edwards from Morecambe. I've always rated him, and I've always been surprised that he's kind of been at like Morecambe's level. Last year was National League. So yeah, a bit surprised that he's gone that low down. Walsall, they brought Josh Gordon from Walsall and Taylor Perry from Shrewsbury, and then they brought like a local lad from Toronto City, Harry Kite. I don't think they'll go down. I do think Matt Taylor's good enough to kind of make sure they don't go down. But I do think they'll finish in the bottom half. This will be the lowest, if you like, lowest side out of the 4 relegated sides from League One last season. So I'm going bottom half.
And again, I'm going to agree with you. I think the financial restrictions that Taylor's under, I watched his video the other day. He looked very stressed. I do rate him as a manager, but I just think they've just not got the money to compete. The signings have been meh. And yeah, I think they were poor last season and they kind of rocketed down the table. So they didn't. Well, I remember Rotherham going there and beating them comfortably, but when we played them, they were near the playoffs and they just shot down the table. And I think obviously Taylor come in, he steadied the ship a little bit. I thought he may have kept him up, but he didn't. And now I think obviously the bank of money is popped, and they're going to struggle to attract any sort of quality to that squad. So I think they are going to have a season of struggle, just enough with the manager to keep them away from any relegation fears, though, for me.
Okay. Next, we have Fleetwood Town. Current manager, a guy called Matt Lawler, who, again, I'll be honest, don't know too much about him. It is a strange appointment for Fleetwood because I know that the chairman, I think he's Jamie Pilley, he's been quite ambitious, in recent years. Again, Fleetwood Town, probably a club who are traditionally a non-league side. They don't get big crowds up there or in the northwest. And yeah, Jamie Pilley's kind of put a lot of money into the club, and I think it's just a prime example of like you do continue to put money in, you don't necessarily guarantee success. You do need to have, if you like, a fan base, or like maybe 10,000 fans, or I don't know. But I can't see Fleetwood ever being in the championship. I think that's what their goal is. Few signings. I think they've signed quite a lot of players actually. 9 or 10. They've loaned a player in as well. Danny Andrew from Exeter City, I think, is a good signing. Andy Cannon, I think that's their best signing from Wrexham. He's a great midfielder, and he's someone who I wish Rotherham would have looked at, to be honest with you. I do like Jake Batty from Swindon as well, and they've also signed Noah Mawene from Preston North End, and I think that must be the son of that. Is it Yoel Mawene, I think, who, again, he played for Preston. I'm only guessing, having the same name. I don't think Fleetwood are good enough to get in the playoffs. However, I think they're probably strong enough to stay above bottom half. So I am going to put them in mid-table as well.
Best running out of mid-table teams here.
I knew you were going to say that. You do get 8,
but I do agree with you. I like the Cannon signing. I think that's a magnificent signing for League Two. I also do like Batty as well. I think that's a good signing for them. So yeah, I think they'll comfortably be in mid-table. I don't think they will get sort of near a sniff of the playoffs. They may be in touching distance of it, but I just think they lack the quality to step into that sort of playoff range for me.
Okay. Next, we have Gillingham. Again, another club where, when I was watching Rotherham in the early 2000s, they were a championship club. And they've kind of just gone down ever since. And they've got down to League Two. They had a couple of bounce backs to League One. But ultimately, they've been in League Two now for a long period of time. Do like the manager Gareth Ainsworth, and you'd think a Gareth Ainsworth kind of style would suit Gillingham. Direct, aggressive, get balls into the wings, get crosses into the box. But it hasn't worked so far. And I'm actually quite surprised that Ainsworth is still there, to be honest, because, aside of Gillingham's club, aside of Gillingham Football Club, they probably should be in League One. If you look at historically, they've always been an average of League One side. So I am surprised he's still there, especially when his football's not generally the best. Fans can get frustrated if it's not successful, and it hasn't been successful. So yeah, very surprised. They've brought quite a lot of players in though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players they've transferred in. On top of that, they've got 3 loans as well. So 12 signings in total. There's a couple of standouts. I like James Brophy from Cambridge. I like Leon Gordon from Motherwell. I like Nick Freeman from Shrewsbury. And it's interesting because I am running out of sides in that middle table box, but I'm going to put them again there because it's because I don't see them being bottom off, but I just don't think they're good enough to get in the playoffs. And while we're doing this as well, Lee, the more I talk about these football clubs, the more I'm thinking Rotherham's got nothing to worry about, and Rotherham should be, challenging for the top. So I'm actually, I know I'm going to run out of mid-table teams, but I just think they're not good enough to get in the playoffs. And as I said, I think they're too good to be bottom half. So yeah, mid-table.
Yeah, and I'm going to go mid-table as well. I think obviously Ainsworth they'll be an horrible, ugly team to watch. I hate the man, to be honest with you. His football is puerile. So glad we didn't get him. But his teams are hard to beat. But they also struggle to win. So that puts you mid-table all day long. So for me, mid-table.
Okay. Next is Grimsby Town manager David Artell. A bit of a strange manager, actually. We know him well. Obviously, he's from Rotherham. He was a Rotherham player. And he's actually a very intelligent manager, is David Artell. I am surprised he's never really managed a club outside of League Two. He seems to get a side into promotion challenge, but never get over the line. And I actually think they're going to do the same again this year, Grimsby. A few signings they've made. Andy Cook is a great signing. I know he's 34, 35. He'll still score your goals. That's a fantastic signing. I quite like the look of Josh Andrews from Gillingham. They've signed a couple of players from Ireland. One permanent, one I think we're on loan. Harvey Cartwright from Hull's a good sign on loan as a goalie. And again, Ewan Morgan from Brentford, I think, is a decent signing. I'm actually going to put Gillingham in the Grimsby in the playoffs because, again, I like David Artell. I think they were just short, I think, of the playoffs last season, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I just think they're going to go one step further and get in the playoffs.
Fair enough. For me, I think David Artell is probably one of the most overrated managers that there is. I don't rate him, to be honest with you. I don't really rate the signings that much. For me, I just think they're a mid-table team. I don't see him challenging the playoffs. I know there were a lot of people's picks, but for me, David Artell is overhyped. He didn't do anything in any other job. He had, I think, half a good season at Grimsby. I think people overhyped it because they beat Manchester United and got carried away with it. But he didn't even get them in the playoffs.
That's why you don't like him, because they beat Man U on penalties.
No, it's nothing to do with beating Man United. I just think people overhype them because they beat Manchester United. Pure and simple. Like, what else has he done as a manager? Where's he been manager?
Well,
He did nothing.
Yeah, So you're right. And this is what I said. He's got teams into the playoffs like Crewe, Grimsby. Well, I think Grimsby is still actually, but he has failed in the playoffs. Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah, he's not good enough. He's overrated, mate. Overrated.
Yeah, and it is surprising with him being from Rotherham as well, because obviously you normally, not you personally, but we normally kind of look to.
No, that's the problem with
Rotherham
Rotherham fans. That's what Rotherham fans do. It's probably because I was born in Sheffield. I've got a bit of a better mentality. I was born in Sheffield, so gives me a little advantage over people from Rotherham, I guess.
I mean, to be fair, although I've praised Artell, I didn't want him as Rotherham manager. Not just because of like I don't think he's good enough. We've kind of said this on this channel. We want to get away from having Rotherham-based players or ex-managers, whatever. It just keeps getting boring and boring when you repeat the same things over and over again. Right, moving on. Newport County, again, a team who have only just, if you like, gone into the Football League. They've only been in, I think, 4 or 5 years, maybe a bit longer actually now, I'm not sure. But I do know it's not been that long because I've never been to Newport watching Rotherham ever, because Rotherham's never played him. So it's actually a ground tick off for me this year, is Newport. Manager is Hayden Mullins, who took over, according to this, he took over just over a week ago, which is a very late kind of, if you like, appointment, even later than when Rotherham appointed their manager. They've brought in a number of players. Looks like about 8 or 9 players have brought in permanent, 1 loan from Bournemouth. Hyson Biggins, I like the look of him. Christian Doige, who Rotherham were linked with back in the day. Again, he's okay, but I don't know if he's League Two material. A couple of players from non-league as well, including one from Full Town. I'm sorry, Newport fans, but you are my other team to get relegated. I'm putting you between 23rd and 24th.
Yeah, they're my pick to finish rock bottom. Signings all from non-league, and that's where they're going to end up. Unfortunately, as harsh as it sounds, they're finishing rock bottom. They're the worst team in League Two by a country mile for me. That's why I had to move Accrington out of the relegation spot when I saw that badge still gleaming there in the bottom, and I was like, no, they're getting down. The signings have been awful, mainly all from non-league, and that's where they're going to end up, non-league. Sorry, guys, if you support Newport. I don't think there's many Newport fans anyway, so I shouldn't get too much hate for that.
Interesting. Okay. Next is Northampton Town. Again, another side who came down with Rotherham United last season. They had a terrible season. I think Rotherham even finished about 7-8 points above them. I'm just looking at their kind of, summer business. It doesn't look like they've done a lot in terms of bringing players in. The manager is Chris Hogg. Chris Hogg, I believe, has been an assistant manager in a lot of clubs. And I'm just looking at his profile now. It does look like it's his first managerial job. So it's one of them where you probably don't know how he's going to get on, Chris Hogg. I actually think, again, I know I said earlier that Exeter are the lowest performing team. I think Northampton will only slightly finish above Exeter. I'm actually going to put these in the bottom half. Now, it's a strange for me to do that because Northampton Town, normally when they come into League Two, they're always near the top. I just think that they were so poor last year in a poor League One team. They've not really amended, the squad's not really changed a lot, and I don't know if I like the manager. So I'm going to put them in bottom half, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, Northampton were terrible last season, and I think they're going to finish below Exeter for me. I think they're going to be out of the teams that got relegated, the lowest placed team. So I'm going to pick them in the bottom half, definitely. Yeah, I don't see anything from them. A rookie manager. They were in free fall last season. The worst team I saw Rotherham play last season, and we played some crap last season, and we were crap as well last season. But they were even worse. And yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if it is Northampton that are teetering on relegation with Crawley. They could be in danger of dropping again back-to-back relegations, but I think they'll just stay up. But I think it's going to be a tight one for them.
Yeah, one thing I will say is because I'm using Wikipedia for my transfer information, and I didn't have any transfer information on, but I've just checked. They have brought in, I think, 4 free transfers. The only one I recognise really is James Maxwell from Doncaster, which is actually a decent signing, but the rest of them, I don't think it's a great watch or a great look. They've also signed Matthew Warhurst from Man City under-21s, which I don't know if that's related to the Paul Warhurst who played for Wednesday, not sure. So yeah, just looking at the transfers in, again, it doesn't change my mind. I still think Northampton.
No, it doesn't change my mind.
Yeah. Right, moving on. Oldham Athletic. Again, a bit of an interesting club, Oldham. They've always, in my lifetime, they have been in the Premier League. They dropped down into obviously the conference a couple of years ago, and they've got themselves back into the league, and they didn't do as well last season as I thought they were going to do. Mickey Mellon, the manager, I quite like Mickey Mellon. Always rated him. He's never really rated, never really been that much higher than League Two though. Which might tell you something I don't know. Just looking at the transfers, they've got a couple of really good signings in here, actually. Oliver Norvord, he's a cracking sign from Notts County, and Noah Chilvers from Ross County, who they've actually paid money for. That is a cracking signing as well. So they've actually brought in a lot of good players here. And again, I'm thinking this is one of them, a bit like Chesterfield, a bit like Barney, where I think there'll be a team that's trying to get into the playoffs. They'll be close to the playoffs, but I do think they're going to just fall short. And I'm actually, again, going to put them in my mid-table section, which means my mid-table section is now full. So you can tell that me and Lee don't like to put teams in promotion bits because none of us has got any top 3 teams in yet.
Yeah, so for me, Oldham got a decent following. I think they could be a surprise package, and I think they could get in the playoffs, Oldham. I like the signing. I think they underachieved last season. They got some good players in last season, and I think they're going to build on that this season. Very similar to Chesterfield. I think they'll be battling it out in the playoffs. I think Oldham will get in the playoffs. They've got a good following as well when they're doing well of Oldham. So yeah, my pick for a surprise playoff place.
Yeah, I have to say, I think you've got a good shot there, Lee. That's why I've kind of put them just outside the playoffs. Right, next, Port Vale, the last team that came down with Rotherham United. Manager John Brady, I really rate this guy. Again, he's only a lower league manager. He's never been above League One. He took him, I think, 2 years to get through, or maybe 3 years with Northampton when they came up a couple of years ago. But I can remember watching the final game where Northampton beat Tranmere. It was when Rotherham were going to Wigan last game of the season, and we watched that in the pub. And when they did win Prost, I remember him being really emotional. And then he kept Northampton in League One. Again, that might not sound like a big deal, but to Northampton it probably is, because every time Northampton go into League One, they tend to come back down. So that's why I really rate this manager. As soon as he left the club, Northampton got relegated. Now, because of that, and I think Port Vale always do well when they come back into League Two, when they get relegated, they're always near the top. They've also made some cracking signings for me. Max Waters from Barnsley, Cal Dempsey is an incredible signing. Jasper Moon, Lewis Montsmar, Mo Fowl. They've signed a lot of good players, and that is why I've got Port Vale as my champions. Well done, Port Vale.
Bloody hell. Okay. So yeah, for me, Port Vale, I'm going to put them in second place. I think they'll finish runners up. I like. Oops, I've got it wrong one. Put them in second. Yeah. So for me, Port Vale, I like the signings. I think Dempsey will be one of the best players in the division. That's a cracking signing. They've already got Cameron Humphreys. They've got a big following of Port Vale as well. And for me, I really like the manager, similar to what Bez says. And they were so far adrift at the bottom when he took over. He actually had more of a chance of staying up than Rotherham did in the end. But I think he did a good job towards the end, and I think they'll build that momentum on. And I think they will be challenging for the title, but I think they're just going to fall short to a team that is just going to absolutely blow this league apart.
Wonder who that could be. Okay, fair enough. Next, Rochdale. Rochdale, again, your typical League Two side. I remember when Rotherham were last in League Two, and there were one team who you were always going to play every single year, and that were Rochdale. Never went down, never went up, and then eventually did get relegated into the conference. And I have to say, I was surprised that Rochdale did bounce back as quickly as they did, because the conference is not an easy league to get out of, especially when only one goes up automatically, and then you've got to get through like a free playoff game, if you like, because they do, I think it's second to seventh through or eighth through getting the playoffs. So yeah, very hardly to get out of, but fair play to Rochdale, they did it. The manager's Ian Watson. I honestly had no idea who this guy was until last season, when obviously Rochdale were head to head with York City for the title. And to be fair, in fact, it might not even be the same manager, to be fair. I think the Rochdale manager did actually leave. Let me just double check that. I don't know if you know, Lee, dear. The Rochdale manager, I think they changed it. Yes, I'm right. So Jimmy McNulty, my apologies, he was the one who was excellent last year for Rochdale. He moved on to Stockport, should have known that, and Ian Watson's come in. Now, because it's a new manager, it's a manager, I'll be honest, I've never really heard of, don't know much about him. Look at the signings. Again, they signed a couple of okay players. Lawrence Maguire, Aaron Maguire's brother, Johnny Smith's a good signing from Wigan. Sam Walker, decent keeper. So yeah, I think they're going to have an average season, Rochdale. I'm going to put them in the bottom half. I think if they kept their manager from last season, they could have built on that and then possibly challenge for playoffs. So because they've lost him, I am going to put Rochdale in that bottom half finish.
Interesting. So for me, Rochdale. Oh, this is a difficult one. So will they finish? Yeah, I'm just going to put them mid-table. I think they've got enough to be out of the relegation and the bottom half. They're a bit of a strange club of Rochdale, so I'm just going to go mid-table with Rochdale.
Okay. Right, next is our beloved Rotherham United, and obviously we can sit here all day and talk about Rotherham. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, because obviously it's a Rotherham channel. We do go into a lot of detail on Miller's Monday. I'll get that promoted, and also midweek Millers on a Thursday. Rotherham, obviously, probably the biggest club in the league. I'm not just saying that, they probably are the biggest club in the league. They have signed an unknown manager, but he's got a lot of experience around him, a hell of a lot of experience. And they've probably got the best assistant manager, arguably outside the Championship, never mind League One, but outside the Championship. They've also got a couple of really good backroom staff, the Man United goalie, for example. But it's all been managed by the big guy, Steve McLaren, who, to get Steve McLaren at this level is unbelievably brilliant. And the first few weeks were a bit ropey, nothing really happened in terms of transfer recruitment, but it's really accelerated in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And some of the signings I've actually been impressed with: Paul Mullin, Tom Bradshaw, the lad from Manchester United, Al Joffrey. It looks like now the ex-Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper Joe Welsh is going to come in, who, if he does, is one of the best keepers in the league. I think Denzel Hall's one of the best right-backs in the league. As I said, Paul Mullin, one of the best strikers in the league. So, yeah, I can't see anything but Rotherham challenging near the top. Now, when I'm sat in the pub, a lot of my mates do think that Rotherham should just be focused on staying up, not because of the league being poor and what have you. I think it's more to do with the fact Rotherham are on a downward spiral, and I've said, knowing that kind of puts me off putting them into the second or third place. I am going to do it though. I am going to put Rotherham in second or third. My mates are going to look at this and laugh because they believe that Rotherham should just be focusing on staying up. Again, they would do the club as such, because of the momentum of them going down and down and down. And I think once we get going, and I have to say, since we've been doing this, me and Lee, running this video, there's literally no club there that I'm scared of or worried of. And I think that's the reason why I've kind of put Rotherham in the top three. I think if we'd done Rotherham first, I might have had them slightly lower. But yeah, knowing the quality of this league, I can't see Rotherham really not finishing at least in top 7. I'm going to put them in second or third.
Yeah, man. I mean, I used to be told that, it's me that's negative and this, that, and the other. Listen, Rotherham United in League 2 is like having Manchester United in the non-league. Yeah, it's ridiculous. We will walk this by a country mile. 100 points plus, no danger. Absolutely no danger. I can't see a team that have been in the Championship regular like we have at this level. It's just not unheard of, yeah? These teams, a lot of them have been teetering around non-league. They've got terrible budgets. They've got terrible squads. And you look at Rotherham United, yeah? We've got Steve McLaren, the ex-England manager, director of football. We've got Alex Bruce as manager. Yeah, people are going to say he's a rookie, but he's the son of ex-Manchester United legend Steve Bruce. We've got Manchester United's goalkeeping coach that worked under Sir Alex Ferguson, that won the treble. Yeah, we have then also got one of United's bright young talents in Joffrey. What a signing he is! Like from Manchester United's academy. It looks like we're going to sign Brandon Williams, who's played Champions League football. He's played regular in the Premier League. He was playing in the Championship last season. Yeah, these are unbelievable signings for this 11. Paul Mullin, he has banged goals in the Championship. He's been playing at the Championship level. Again, last season for Wrexham, he went on loan to top-end league club. Top-end. Bradford were challenging for the playoffs, yeah? He went there. Yeah, he didn't do so well, but he's a golden boot winner at this level. Golden boot. Bradshaw, he's been playing in the Championship last 2 or 3 seasons. It's a cheat code for League 2. Denzel Hall would get in a lot of Championship sides. He'd get in any top League 1 team. Denzel Hall, cheat code. Jealous, he already won Player of the Season in this level. Yeah, you can't talk to me about we should be looking to stay in this league. I don't care that we're on a downward spiral. That downward spiral is finished. Yeah, get your heads up. Trust me, nobody is stopping Rotherham United this season. We are going to be champions, and we're going to be champions at a canter. Absolute, no doubt in my mind. You can bookmark it, you can mock it. People mocked me when I said Man United had finished 3rd last season, and they did. I'll take all the mocking you want. Rotherham United will smash this division to pieces. They're going to smash the granny out of it. So get ready, League 2. You're on notice. We are taking over. We're not here to take part. We're here to take over. We're Rotherham United. We're the biggest club in this league. We are winning the league. No question about it. Done. Over and out.
What I will ask you, Lee, if there was one concern you had, whether it be the players, the chairman, the manager, what one concern would you have which could stop Rotherham from winning league? What would it be?
For me, obviously the chairman. he's always been an issue. But we've actually got the players in at the minute. If we get these extra over the line, we can't use that excuse. The chairman's kind of backed him. But for me, I think it's the length of time we take as momentum to build the team. So we could have a slow start because these players are taking time to gel. That's for me a slow start. And I'm not saying we're going to blow the league away from the start. I think we may start off slow. I think we'll win the first game 4 or 5-0, probably 3-0. 3-0 away at Cheltenham. It's away in it. I think we'll batter them. I think the tougher teams that have been together a few years, like Chesterfield and your York, who have got the promotion bounce, maybe tougher games. But I do not fear anybody at this level. I hate to stress it to people. I don't want to come across as arrogant or big-headed. But Rotherham United in League Two is like taking candy from a baby. This is just going to be ridiculous. Yeah, people are talking Salford. They're not at the level. They bottle it every season, yeah? They're a franchise football club. They're like a park team. They've sold about 500 season tickets. And, yeah, because we've signed a few players. I mean, you've signed them from Doncaster, so tells you the standard of these players. They're not great. Powell, one of the most overrated Rotherham United players of all time. Flattered to deceive. Couldn't even beat the first man on a corner 80% of the time. So I'm not overly impressed with Salford. It's business. I watched them the other day. I think they lost to Shrewsbury. I don't think they're going to be challenging Rotherham United for the title. Rotherham's worry is, for me, Port Vale and Bristol Rovers.
I'll tell you what, Lee, you might as well put your Salford in now then. So where do you think Salford are going to finish? Because you've just spoke about them. So go on, where do you think they're going to finish?
So I think Salford will finish 5th. If it lets me put them 5th.
Okay. Just by the way, these aren't. You've got Salford left. We're not saying they're going to finish 5th. We're just going to say that.
No, I'm just put
Just wanted to make sure you do that. Yeah.
I think they'll finish in 4th or 5th, maybe 4th. Okay. But they're not going to. I think Bristol Rovers and Port Vale are better than Salford, and the better football clubs. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. Well, again,
better fan base, better managers, everything.
Yeah, and on Salford, I'll give you my opinion. I actually agree with a lot of what Lee was saying. Again, another football club that really aren't a League Two or EFL football club. They're not even a conference club. I think the best that they were at before, if you're at the Class of '92, kind of took them over, was Conference North. As Lee said, they were a football club who were averaging only 500 people, I believe, only a few years ago. And to be fair to Class of '92, they've done a good job in getting Salford into the EFL. But I have to say, I've actually struggled in League Two because the fact they're throwing a lot of money at it and they're still in League Two is deemed as a failure to me. And this season, they've thrown more money at it. They've not done anything different this season than they've done the last few seasons. And that's where I do agree with Lee. Now, the manager is a foreign guy, Peter Klamowski. And now, I have to say, he might come into a championship club and do well. He might do. He might come into a Premier League club and do well. There is no way he's going to know what the level that League Two is. And it's interesting. I'm going to have to put Salford in the playoffs because I've not got room anywhere else. I actually think that Salford, again, I think that they're one of them teams who will finish between 5th and like 10th. Now, I am going to keep in the playoffs. The reason being is because they have got some quality players in that side. Macaulay Langstaff will score goals if you create for him. I think the fact that they did bring in Will Amerson from Wigan's a good signing. I agree with Leon Joe Powell. I think he was average. He was average at Rotherham, but he will do well at this level because it's a lower league level than League One. And obviously Luke Molyneux, who Doncaster Rovers fans were unhappy at losing. I actually have never really rated him. Now he had a great season last season. He scored a good goal against Rotherham, but I've actually never really rated him. And I'd say I've already had this video out before. I'm disappointed that Luke Molyneux hasn't really got any. He hasn't got any. He's not got the potential to do better. He's just gone for money. If it were me, I'd have stopped at Doncaster and tried to get a club higher, not lower. So yeah, I think his attitude is not the best, or his not attitude, his ambition is not the best. His ambition stinks for me. So I'm going to leave Salford in the playoffs, but it is going to be between Salford, Barnet, Chesterfield, possibly Crewe, possibly Oldham, who could get in them playoffs. We'll move on to Shrewsbury next, Shrewsbury Town. Again, a club for me who have always been in League Two. When Rotherham's been in League Two, they do flirt with League One every now and then. Their best, if you like, their best league position finish in the last few years was Paul Hurst's Shrewsbury Town when they lost to Rotherham United in the playoffs final in 2018, I think it was, after close to into the Championship. They've got an unknown manager, Gavin Cowan. Again, he's a non-league manager, managed Telford, managed Brackley. Did well at Brackley, to be fair, but it is a bit of a strange appointment. He's actually a German as well. He was actually born in Hanover, Germany, according to this, which I didn't know. So that's interesting. And you look at the players that they've brought in, they have actually spent a bit of money. They brought a player from Barrow, Isaac Fletcher, player from Birmingham, Byron Pendleton. I don't know much about him. And then the rest of them are, if you like, from lower league. It's one of them with Shrewsbury where it probably can go either way. They could get into the playoffs or they could struggle. I think they're going to struggle, and that's why I'm going to have Shrewsbury in the bottom half. They'll not go down, but I'm going to have them bottom half.
Yeah, so Shrewsbury for me, yeah, I think, they're going to be bottom half. Funny football club, funny place, close to Telford, strange place. Yeah, I can't say much more on them.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, well, they're not the club that you talk a lot about, really, are they? One thing I don't like about them, I can't stand their football ground because it's a brand new ground, but the stands are like miles apart, and it's just one of the worst new grounds I've been to. So yeah, I don't like ground Shrewsbury. Sorry. Right, just clear my throat there. Next is Swindon Town. I actually like Swindon Town. I think they're a decent sized club. I don't think they're a League Two club, although they've been in League Two quite a lot over the last 20 years or so. But I think historically, probably a League One side. Again, they've had an appearance in the Premier League, that one appearance in there, which weren't that long ago, as in the 90s at some point. I like the manager, Ian Holloway. I think he's a good manager. I think they had a decent season last season, if I remember correctly. Just missed out, I think they finished 8th or 9th or something like that. They have lost, I think, their top goal scorer, Aaron Dridden, who obviously won Player of the Year. Oh, he's still there, actually. No, he's still there. If you can keep Aaron Dridden, then I do believe that they will do well again. But I have a feeling that he will get sold between now and the end of the transfer window. So he is important. They've brought in, I think, 4 players, transfers, and then a couple of loans as well, including Joseph Humbo, who Rotherham did have a couple of seasons ago. I'm actually going to put, and this is based on that striker, I'm actually going to put Swindon. I'm trying to think where I'm going to put Swindon. I just don't want to put them bottom half. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put them mid-table, and I'm going to put Oldham into the bottom half. I'm sorry, Oldham fans, but I'm going to do Swindon mid-table, Oldham bottom half.
Bears moving him around.
To be fair to us, though, Lee, we've obviously done this research, but we decided to do this, if you like, on the go, as opposed to just saying, right, let's put Rotherham there, let's put Colchester there. We've done it on the go, so you're always going to get some movement, aren't you, really?
Yeah. I'm going to put Swindon Town mid-table for me. mid-table team. Big club for the level. I don't think they'll trouble the bottom half, and I don't think they'll pull any trees up at the top half either.
Interesting. Okay. Next is Tranmere Rovers. I mean, Tranmere have recently struggled. They've been in the conference. They've struggled, I think, in League Two over the last few seasons. But they've actually spent a little bit of money. Spent a little bit of money on wages this year. I do like the manager, Darryl Clark. I really rate Darryl Clark. And they have brought in players like Tom Ince, Jordan Davis. They've brought in Will Vaulks. And Will Vaulks, I think that's a cracking signing because, yes, he's a bit old, but I think he's still only like 31, 32. Yeah, 32. So I think 32 Will Vaulks in League Two. I think that's a cracking signing, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, though, I am going to put them in bottom half. It's just because I just to get them from if you like struggling in League Two to jump into the playoffs. I just think it's going to be a big ask for them. That's all. I do think they've signed well, and this is the one team where I could get it completely wrong. But I'm never a fan of old players. Tom Ince, people say that's a good signing. He's 34. I don't think it's a good signing. I think he's fasty. I do rate Will Vaulks down.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm going to disagree with Bez on this one. I think that Tranmere will get in to definitely mid-table. For me, I think Tom Ince is a good signing. I think Will Vaulks is a good signing. I like the manager. And I think they could be a surprise package and sneak into the playoffs. I don't think they will, but it could be close.
Okay. And I mean, to be fair, I that's the one team that I think could outdo me on this, to be fair, Lee. So I don't disagree with you. Right, last two sides. Let's get through the shelf because we've been quite a while. We've got over an hour. Walsall. I actually really rate Walsall. I think they've got again another club who historically have been higher than this. I like some of the players they've brought in. Andrew Dallas from Barnes is a good signing. Ryan Leake from Ross County, Reece Smith they've actually spent a bit of money as well at Walsall. The only thing that puts me off Walsall, if you like getting into the top 7, is the manager because it's Lee Grant, and I'm not a big fan of Lee Grant. He really struggled last season at Huddersfield, and that's my only concern. I'm going to put Walsall in the playoffs. I just think the quality of the squad will be enough to get them into playoffs. I don't rate the manager. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big fan of Lee Grant. So I'm going to put them in playoffs.
This is a difficult one. I'm going to put Walsall. Yeah, I'm going to have to put them bottom half. I don't think they're good enough to get in the playoffs. I think Lee Grant isn't a terrible manager. He's managing Huddersfield, wasn't he? But yeah, he didn't do great. I just think they're just a strange club, Walsall. Their fans have been giving it a bit as well, as though there's some kind of team. Last time I seen it was just a small little tin pot stadium on way to Birmingham. So yeah, I think it'll be a bottom half finish for old Walsall.
Okay. Lastly, then, and I think my calculations are correct. I have York City in promotion now. York obviously are one of the favourites to get promoted odds-wise. I have to say, one thing that is putting me off though is the fact that there has been a change of manager in the last week, 10 days, and it does seem like a little bit of a mess at the minute. The reason why I think they'll still be challenging for the top three is I actually think Scott Lindsay is a decent manager. I think he was actually linked with Rotherham at some point. So yeah, I think he's a decent manager, and I think they've made some really good signings. To be fair, they obviously brought in over £1 million for that centre back who went to Hearts. And I think they've kind of reinvested some of that into the squad. Arthur Reed, Zick, Medley, Charlie McArthur, Frankie Maguire, Mark Shelton, I've always liked, midfielder from Barnet, Jack Hunt, the ex-Rotherham right back as well. I actually really rate him. So yeah, I'm leaving York in second to third place, and that's mine done. Lee?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've got what is it, playoffs?
I'm trying to think where you've got them there, yeah.
Yeah, so they can't go in the playoffs because the 4's there, isn't there? There's 4 there. Yeah. They've also, hang on, bottom half.
I'm trying to work out where you can put them, actually. Is it bottom half? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know how you can put them because you've got 2 at bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that right? Is it? I don't think that's right.
They're going to teeter between this mid-table and bottom half. Because for me, I can't see what they did with that sacking the manager. I think that's taken the momentum out of that team. For me, it was a dreadful decision. They've sold some of the better players as well, so they've signed okay, but nothing. There's not one player there that I thought, oh God, I wish Rotherham would have got him. The manager, I'm not overly keen on either. That Lindsay, I don't think is any sort of. It's not a Jose Mourinho, is it? So for me, I think they'll teeter between mid-table and lower half, bottom end. For me, I'm shocked that people have still got them at the top end. To be honest with you, a lot of bookies have got them sort of third and second favourites. You've got them in third. I just don't see it. I think they're miles off. They're a little club as well. For me, they've always been sort of non-league, League Two. Yeah, they've got a bit of money on ownership, but I don't think they're troubling anybody, York City. And that brings us to the end.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. Drop your comments in. Do you agree with Bez or do you agree with my predictions? We will come to them at the end of the season as well. We'll do it when we do an end of season show so we can go back to these predictions and see who got them the closest, really. I'm pretty confident I'll be doing it quite comfortably, to be honest with you. I'm shocked at some of Bez's picks. Definitely shocked that Rotherham he hasn't got winning it. I'm shocked that he's got York so high. Yeah, so some shocks in there, but that's football, it's opinions, so we'll see. Well, how did you think that went, Bez?
Yeah, I think we got to remember. I did say this earlier on in the show that a lot of people will have probably done their tiers before they've gone live, and we've decided not to do that because I think it's more funny, you know, when we're almost getting to the end and we're like, oh well, we've got to put York here because we've got too many promoted sides or whatever. We have done that on purpose for your entertainment, so make sure you bear that in mind. And I think, I look at your playoffs there, and I think you've got a very weak playoff line now. Barnet, Chesterfield, and Oldham. That's what surprises me, I think, the most. Obviously, we've got the same relegation. We've got a lot of similarities in mid-table and bottom half. But yeah, I think it's your playoff fall. I'm a bit shocked, if you like. You've not got a lot of clubs where I would think, oh, they're trying to get promotion.
Well, you had Chesterfield in there, didn't you?
No, I didn't know. I said that Chesterfield would. So it's not Chesterfield.
Chesterfield.
It's Barnet and Oldham. It's Barnet and Oldham, really. Although, yeah, because I do like Barnet's manager, but it's Barnet and Oldham that I'm a bit like not sure about that. I mean, I've got Oldham bottom half, and you've got them in playoffs, so that's probably my biggest shock for you, if you like.
Did you know that Barnet are third favourites to win the league?
I know they are. I know. Yeah, I know. I said it. I actually said it. But I just
And
again, it feels like you two are young, right?
Six with Rotherham, a joint six favourites with Rotherham Oldham.
Again, yeah, but I'm just looking at their squad. That's all I'm doing. You just said that York City are joint first favourites, but you can't understand why.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
The same as me.
With them, I'm not saying, like I said, the bookies are not always right. I mean, they've got Salford as clear winners, but I don't see that. I see a serial bottler team.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Some signings that are okay. They're not brilliant. I wouldn't swap many of them for any of our signings, to be honest with you.
What I would say is, of all the leagues, and we are going to do all 3 leagues, I reckon this will be the hardest one to predict out of the 3. That's what I honestly think. What do you think, Lee?
No, I think when you come to the end of the season, you'll see that little thing what I've just done there for you. It'll probably be bang on the money. I honestly think I've picked it as close to us what it's going to be as you can absolutely get without seeing into the future. That's my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see at the end. It's easy saying it now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah. We will see at the end of the season. The good things with these recordings is they stay there. So people may call me an idiot tomorrow, and then at the end of the season, I will be sat there with my cigar saying, "What did I tell you, boys?" Like when we had the thing with the Man United, I took all the is he on coke? Is he doing this? Man United third, they've got absolute no chance of third. Listen, talk to King Bush. He knows what he's talking about. I've watched football many years. There ain't many better at predicting football than me. If anybody.
We'll see.
Even the top pundits, mate.
This is League 2. This is League 2. This is not Premier League. League 2 is a lot harder league to beat than Premier League, I'm telling you now.
Super. So, if you've enjoyed the video, please like it. Please comment. We always respond to the comments. So, if you agree with what I'm saying, drop it in the comments. If you've got any questions that you don't agree with us, drop them in there. We'll respond to them. Thank you for watching the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. Click the notification. That'll notify you anytime that we go live. If you follow us on Discord as well, Discord will notify you when we go live on any platform, whether it be Facebook, whether it be X, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Apple Music. We're on them all. We're everywhere. So yeah, follow us on the socials, and I hope you've enjoyed the video today. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.